Welcome back one more time to the Dota 2 Asia Championship. It's here. The grand finals are finally here. And we have the full panel ready to talk about this game that's about to start. It's going to be Evil Geniuses versus Vici Gaming. Winner will take $1.3 million out of the total $3+ million, making this the second biggest prize pool in all of esports history.
It's a really big jump. It goes from like around, I think it's 300,000, almost up to 1.3 million.
Yes.
So it's almost $1 million jump. I mean, that is pretty insane.
That is pretty much. I think the one that has to be most relaxed about this match is going to be Fear, because if he loses, he can claim to be Fenrir and get the money anyways.
He also has his Mercedes-Benz back at home. Like he can go back and live in style.
Ben's boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Winter, we've seen this. Are you okay? Excellent.
Ben's voice.
Ben's voice. We've seen these two teams throughout the tournament. They've been very impressive. Let's just go it straight away. Who do you think is going to win?
I think the favorites in my opinion, would be VG because they have more experience overall in the team, and EG just made two roster changes, but it didn't seem like they got slowed by it at all. They were able to still reach the final of the event, but I would still slightly favor VG just because they are more stable. The roster has been there for a much longer time, and they have players that have more experience, like in the solo mid position especially. So when it comes down to those key moments where both sides are very even and it comes down to that little thing, I would expect VG to be able to come on top.
I can see that.
I want to echo what David said earlier. I feel like Secret did not really pressure Sumail that much in their matchup, but he is going to be under constant pressure from Vici Gaming in some way, whether it's just them ganking the other lanes, trying to force him to rotate, contesting him more at the runes, or straight up just trying to kill him mid. So
Arrows, I think, would be something that we might actually see in the games from VG.
Earthshaker may be a pick that they go for in the first phase, maybe even something EG think about banning or denying and taking it for themselves. It's those heroes that can get a lot done on the laning stage, I think, will be really important for EG.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, yeah, the Mirana Winter's talking about. And the other thing is, if Vici Gaming do want to fall back and go for something a bit greedier, like the FY Sand King and try farm that Blink Dagger, I feel like in a close game, mid to late game, Vici Gaming's decision making is just going to be a bit better than EG's as far as individuals go.
Yeah, I think the Sand King would more or less likely come out only if EG picks up Enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll maybe the Chen as well, because AUI plays the Chen similar to an Enigma most of the time.
The nice thing with the Enigma is like you get your blink around when Enigma gets mech, so you're fighting like the blink timing of a Sand King versus the Enigma mech timing, and it's kind of like who outplays the other.
The issue with Chen is like Chen can actually help with the creep towards middle, and if you are trading Sand King versus Chen, your mid might suffer. But if you're Sand King versus Enigma doesn't really want to come out and gank early.
It's
so
true.
Sand King can sort of go unpunished, but against the Chen, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
It could go either way, because AUI traditionally does play the Chen very greedily, but maybe PPD will be telling him, you need to go help mid.
If you're talking about the most successful heroes for each of the positions in Vici Gaming's lineup, Vengeful Spirit has been 8-0, undefeated in 8 games. Also undefeated is Ice Tide Hunter. He's 5-0 there. Mirana, the other support, 4-0 as well.
I believe he's also 3-0 on Phoenix.
He is 3-0 on Phoenix, and also unbeaten on Medusa, Vici Gaming, 4-0. And finally, what's Super's most successful hero, Ember Spirit, 3-0. We have a lot of undefeated heroes coming from Vici Gaming, but also from EG. And one that I want to talk about is one that we might be able to see in these grand finals, is a Tree and Protector.
Will we see any Tree? He's kind of fallen off in popularity as of late, even for God Black and PPD. The
How
two that used
many
to run
games has he played it? Just
2. It was 2-0.
I feel like more likely we'd probably see the Abaddon or Dazzle if they want a strong defensive support.
Yeah. The Abaddon for EG is at 1-1. They played it 2 times.
They lost yesterday to Vici. They actually ran their Abaddon Nature's Prophet strategy where they went for that kind of cheesy push. I mean, it was kind of cheesy. Went for a push strat with the Abaddon Nature's Prophet. They had the Lycan as well, but I feel like the big weakness with that draft was they ended up like not having a Sumail hero. They had to last pick him Zeus, which didn't really fit them.
And actually, let's go into the draft because it has just started, so we can stop speculating and see what these guys are going to pick and ban. Guys, this is EG versus Vici Gaming finals of the Dota 2 Asian Championships. Game 1, this is the draft.
Hype!
Hype!
The early Chen ban, Vici Gaming are going to have first pick. They will be on Radiant this game. They're going to Now ban the sniper for EG, something Super had a lot of success with, and something which other teams were trying to copy. We saw Secret, EG, both keeping more of an eye on this hero in their subsequent matches.
Yep, Sniper is 6-1 for Super.
Even Big God ran it. I feel like after that Vici Gaming match where they beat EG with it, all of a sudden all the remaining 3 teams like, wow, this hero can really take over a game mid.
It's so good at pressuring the mid lane. There's such high kill potential with the Shrapnel. All you need is one roaming support. It was the Earthshaker plus Sniper. It can be any hero with the Sniper, and having the 2 to 3 Shrapnels just means you find kills so easily on the mid laner.
It's also so hard to gank, deceptively hard to gank. Sniper used to be this hero that was like, oh, you can't put him mid lane because he dies to ganks, he has no escape mechanism, you kind of have to go for a shadow blade. We're talking 3-4 years ago. Now, because of that huge range and take aim, you don't even need to take all 4 points. Just 2 points will make you so that you will always be on your side of the river, you can harass, and you cannot trade against the Sniper. And it's very good. Few teams can successfully repeatedly gank the Sniper.
Everything about it, even the last thing, the headshot, when you're hitting uphill, having the true strike means when you're going for that kill underneath the tower with that gank, like there's a few times where I've seen a sniper on the low ground attacking up ground, but because of headshot, you don't have that. It takes away some of that mischance, and the shrapnel gives you vision in the tree. So it's one of the few like dire side heroes that can actually kill in that kind of mid tree area.
You know, something that we haven't seen, it's kind of a gimmick, but something that you can do with Sniper is when you assassinate someone, you keep vision of that person. And assassinate, you can stop it. You can assassinate, stop, and maintain vision, kind of like the hero is struck, so that he cannot juke the rest of the team. It's a kind of nice thing that you can do with Sniper.
Both of these teams do run the Shadow Fiend. It's a bit less common for Vici Gaming, but they're going to pick it up here first overall. I think partially to take EG out of their comfort zone a bit, maybe something they were expecting to get with the second pick, and they'll go for the Troll for fear. Following up early, they reveal the Enigma. Wow.
Yes.
That's a very early Enigma pick.
And we see if Vici Gaming will decide to counter. Winter, you were saying something about the Enigma.
Dire boys.
Yeah, I think if they don't go Sandkin here, there's quite a decent chance EG ban it second phase.
I don't think it's a second pick
You
type here for
might
Vici.
not want to pick the Sand King that early because if you use your second pick to go for a hero like Sand King, a lot of limitations will come into your third and fourth pick.
There's also always that slight chance that EG take a page out of Vici's book and maybe even run the offlane Enigma, which could catch them off guard.
And I think if you guys were talking about like the Bounty Hunter were not successfully run like in the 2 games versus Chen. Bounty Hunter against Enigma, however, is a much stronger matchup for the Bounty because Enigma needs a lot of levels to help the team, whereas Chen, if you keep him at level 1, level 2, he's still going to be able to roam with that 1 creep, or in the current patch where you reach level 3, you have 2, he's still able to help his team. But for Enigma, if you keep the Enigma at level 2, level 3, he's basically not going to be able to help the team. So Bounty would be much stronger against Enigma, whereas against Chen.
This has been one of the 2 go-to heroes in the offlane. If they don't get their prized Bat Rider for Ice, as of late, Tidehunter has been the second go-to. We saw this out of Big God yesterday, that big AoE teamfight combo. I think the main difference is expectations are that Ice will be able to execute it much better than what
also
RTK
the
did.
combination of heroes they get. If they want to go for another hero, which they have been picking a few games, Phoenix, they would have him with the Medusa due to the synergy. And with Shadow Fiend, they would prefer to have Tide because of the huge AoE burst and disable. So it's much harder to go into that team fight.
Look at that respect from
Still no
Vici Gaming.
Storm ban, I want to point out.
Yeah, but I think the Storm is not that great against the Tide Hunter.
Storm Troll is a really strong combo, though. We've seen a lot of teams running this together. Rave, I think, comes to mind as a team that really enjoys it.
How
the
strong of a
Storm's the
combo is
fourth
it,
ban.
Brian?
So you think they're going to ban it this phase?
I
then?
think it's quite likely.
Yeah,
This is the stage where you ban the Sumail heroes. The Tinker, the Storm's his most played hero. Probably, I would argue, his best
I
hero.
think Tinker is like mostly because if you ban Tinker, usually you want to go 5 men early, and Tinker's the
Troll
hero
Storm.
that can actually stop you.
So, I mean, as mentioned, if they don't take the Sand King in the first phase, they're probably not getting it second. EG will ban it out. I think a very straightforward ban for them.
Yeah.
At this point, they know the script on Vici is clear. They love to counter the Enigma with a greedier jungler.
Would you ban the Bounty Hunter though? It hasn't worked this tournament. And it feels like a waste.
I don't think they'll ban
It's
it.
50-50. I don't think it's like a sure thing that it will make the life of the Enigma very hard and win the game for the Bounties team. It's just something that you would consider doing against the Enigma.
The other thing you have to remember is, sure, your Enigma becomes a lot less effective without the levels, but it's like not like the Bounty Hunter without levels is going to do much either. You can do a bit more at level 6 with track, but it's basically trading a useless Enigma for a useless Bounty Hunter. Obviously, they're not entirely useless, but
Yeah.
No surprises at all here so far in the draft. Both teams, I mean, aside from how they would open, from there it's been pretty straightforward as far as the bans go.
Storm actually banned right now. We were talking about the efficiency of Troll and Storm together. Capes Aptosis tells us that they're 3-0 this tournament. 2 times by Rave, 1 time played by EG as well. So
Strong combo. Also, you pick Shadow Fiend Tide, and these heroes do not really deal with Storm particularly well.
I like actually the Invoker with the Troll as well. The
Invoker could be good
Quasvex
here.
Invoker with the Orchid, roam around with Ghost Walk plus the Battle Trance.
You know, they even sometimes go for that Shadow Blade on Fear's Troll, which, if they want to, would allow them to just pick off anyone from Vichu's off on their own.
Yeah.
And actually, the Silencer ban coming out.
oh, who was it that yesterday was destroyed?
Big God.
Big God.
Ran the
Rubik Silencer.
And they were winning the game, and then there was
Yeah.
that one fight mid where they overextended versus Secret, and it all fell apart from there.
Yeah, but Puppy couldn't get a black hole all game pretty much until
Yeah.
that point.
That was rough.
That was very tough.
5
I remember the Silencer. That game wouldn't even pop it in team fights without black hole because it was like, no, I'm gonna save this for the black hole. I'm gonna completely make Puppy useless, and they almost got away with it. So clever ban here coming from Evil Geniuses.
What are you guys expecting next?
Beastmaster, maybe, because has a lot of synergy
From
with
whom?
for EG has a lot of synergy with the Troll, Enigma.
Something Secret banned, was it second phase, I think? But not the case. They're going to go for the Phoenix.
Oh, and
This
ISSIs
is
must be watching and saying, ha.
Position 3 Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. not
something when something I was thinking with the Vici Gaming SF is they don't always run at mid lane. Sometimes it's black playing in the safe lane, and that limits some of the heroes you can pick for Universe because they've done the SF versus the Axe in a 1v1 matchup. They'll do the SF. I think SF beats Beastmaster pretty hard, so I think EG picked this Phoenix partly just so they can force Vici Gaming to run the Shadow Fiend mid. Because now
Yeah.
you can't run Shadow Fiend versus the Phoenix too well.
And the
Not without a lot of support dedication.
and this shows the reasoning behind the Silencer ban
Yeah.
as well, because Phoenix is very vulnerable towards Silencer, and now EG has a lineup that has
Well, if
2
you're
huge team fights.
if you're
team
Vici, do you think you consider like a Skyrath, something they've run quite a bit, very aggressive support?
10 seconds remaining.
Skyrath,
They like Skyrath a lot.
yeah, they like Skyrath plus.
It's
plus
also
1.
good against the Phoenix with the Icarus dive.
Rubik is also good against Phoenix.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
can
Catch
live
them
during the dive.
Do you think they follow this up with an AA? It seems like those two together are fairly popular.
If you look at what Vici Gaming
I,
likes to-
I would think that Rubik plus Skyrath. Oh, this is the combination I talked about before.
Ah.
Phoenix
The
plus
heals.
They don't have the Tinker this time.
no, the
but
Phoenix plus Trend Protector.
Yeah.
Both the ultimates come into very
Yep.
good synergy
Yes.
with each other.
They did this with the Tinker as their last pick when they ran the Phoenix, I believe. But no Tinker this time around. But still, Overgrowth Phoenix.
And
No
There's
Lion,
there's
no-
like no damage over time here for Vici right now. No easy way to remove those living armor charges
Yeah.
either.
And I was gonna say Lion is one of those supports that we've seen a lot these games. So far, completely ignored both teams.
I think Ember would be a good choice here for Vici Gaming. Okay,
Oh, you're Winter.
Are you drafting Winter?
maybe.
Winter just showing off here right now. Good call.
Because there's no much reliable disable to actually catch a hero like Ember. And like you guys mentioned, no damage over time, and Ember would provide damage over time, take advantage of EG's lineup where they don't have a direct stun or disable against a hero like Ember. And he's very good at dealing with the overgrowth as well. Like he can go for a manta, or doesn't even need the manta with the sleight of face. So I think it's a very good hero against their lineup in general.
Okay, let's think about Sumail. What's left for him? There's the Brewmaster left for him.
Invoker still out
There's
there.
the Invoker right there. It's probably going to be one of those.
I
two
think
heroes.
Invoker's still really good. The Orchid versus Ember, very nice. The EMP could be quite effective this game as well, and he comes online quite early, around the time when the Phoenix and Enigma will have like the mech. Phoenix is level 6, and you're looking to fight if you're EG.
Yeah, definitely. Their lineup lacks a tempo controlling mid hero, and Sumail plays Invoker. So I would think that it, like you mentioned, fits their lineup, fits the player, so could be a very good pickup for EG here.
And a support they can give this Phoenix a lot of trouble is banned out now. Your Skyrath Mage.
Yeah.
Suddenly Vici have run a lot to great success.
They don't want silences. Silences hurt Evil Geniuses a lot. Fortunately for them, there's no one in Vici that is a natural Orchid carrier as well. So I would say there's no even a Shipstick carrier from Vici Gaming's lineup. So EG will have free reign as well. Even though they don't have much lockdown of their own, there's not
Yeah.
much coming from Vici.
And the
Gaming.
Vici Gaming heroes at least have like you've Telekinesis, Ravage, Searing Chains.
Huh.
Okay, a hero that does very well against low armor
Okay.
heroes.
Refraction Living Armor.
Wow. How do you break through that?
I mean, you have Flame Guard, but that alone is not really enough. This lane is going to be pretty hard for the Ember, I feel, without some help.
Lash Rod?
Or I guess
Rubik Lash, yeah.
Bruno likes Lash Rod.
I do like the Lash Rod.
It goes well versus the TA.
It goes well with the Rubik.
They're not that good at pushing. I feel like they don't really threaten towers very well now.
Yeah,
So
Witch Doctor from Maledict is another option.
Yeah, Witch Doctor as well.
5 seconds.
I feel like Vici Game also would really like him around. It doesn't have the damage over time, but that's the kind of just support they run a lot of with an
like, how much can a Mirana?
Oh yeah, baby!
The Rubik Lash.
Sherlock Winter
Alright.
Holmes in the house.
I'm picking for
You're
VG.
more like a Detective Conan kind of guy.
So the lanes would be very flexible. I mean, they don't have to be constantly protecting the Ember. The Rubik and Lash Rock will be super active, which is what VG like to run. They like to move around the map. And everyone on the panel, we talked about how the two supports of VG, they move around on the map very effectively. They control the tempo of the game. They provide so much cover for all the 3 cores to be farming. And it's just one of the specials from Vici, the roaming duel. F5 Fenrir.
It's something that EG did not respect at TI4. It actually destroyed them in one of their games. Or that EG did not respect versus Vici. They were actually terrorized by this exact combo in that best of 3 showdown in the lower bracket. Let's see if they'll have better answers this time.
They'll have Black on the Shadow Fiend on the safe lane, it seems, and Ember better matchup against the TA since you can break the refraction if your supports are going to roam around. And Ember has a setup with the Searing Chain, so gives the supports easier time for the gank.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see how people will move. The good thing about PPD, the best of turn protector spell, Living Armor, you don't have to be around. So PPD can be literally anywhere. He can be maybe...
He's going to be the real Sherlock Holmes detective, looking at where everyone else is.
Yes, he has to be. And the thing is, with the Enigma, farming the jungle, he might not be able to just abuse the fact that he can pull that much. But I'm sure he will find the levels. And once he gets level 6, this EG lineup can prove really scary.
Team fight. This is one of the few games where I saw EG actually pick a very team fight orientated draft. So they're definitely switching things up, and everyone was asking if EG will bring something surprising today. And this draft alone, all the heroes are not surprising, but the combination and playstyle that EG chose to go with, the team fight combination, is the big surprise here.
Absolutely. And now we're going to go to the casters. This game 1 of the finals is going to be casted by our Dota Cinema dynamic duo. It's SUNSfan and syndereN. Guys, good luck. Take it away.
Thank you, Bruno. Welcome everybody to the grand finals of the Dota 2 Asia Championships between EG and Vici Gaming. Like Bruno just said, we'll be casting Game 1 syndereN, and the thing I like about this is there's going to be a lot of mix of casters during this grand final, so that should be pretty cool and unique as opposed to other tournaments. So let's go over the lineups before we get any further. I'll start with EG, if you don't mind,
Sure.
Wepis on the camera. But by that I mean evil geniuses, just so you don't get confused, because they do sound very similar.
Wepis doesn't care about
Okay, you take Vici then.
Okay. So
Very
for Vici
stubborn.
Gaming, looks like Wepis just wants to troll you a little bit. We've got FY onto his Rubik, Super on the Ember Spirit, Fenrir following through on the Leshrac, Black on the Shadow Fiend, and then finally Ice 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 on the Tidehunter. I think this is the first Leshrac pick of the tournament, right? Did they mention that?
They did not.
I think he
I
was
thought
in
he'd
the
been
unpicked
picked
pool.
at least once.
Right?
It's not a common pick, though. I don't know
I
for
seem
sure.
to remember he was in the unpicked pool. He might have been picked, but then it's literally once before this.
Right.
So
Very uncommon hero, and it's going to be fun to see. All right, let's go over EG. So Sumail, the 15-year-old wonder, is going to be playing the TA PPD on his Treant Protector. Phoenix is going to be played by Universe. He is super happy about that. Fear on Troll Warlord, and last but not least, AUI 2000 on Enigma. So, this bottom rune, are we going to have a rune battle?
looks like
For
it's
the
a
ages?
possibility. I don't think Universe really wants to try this. So telekinesis is one of the really good tools against Phoenix. Sometimes it's difficult to land because the movement of the Icarus dive is very fast, but if you precast it, it will stop Phoenix in the dive, and you not only stop him, but you can of course get the toss back effect afterwards. And well, judging from how FI has been playing this tournament, he will probably also be able to catch him mid-curve.
Yeah, Ice in the bottom line has 12 tangos, expecting to take a lot of pressure, but right now he's going to be going against the Phoenix. What do you think about the matchup there, Tide versus Phoenix? Of course, Phoenix isn't a hero we've seen that often. I think it's been picked, I've seen like 4 or 5 games at least, a lot of them from Ice, but Universe, this is maybe his second game on Phoenix, I want to say.
I think
Maybe
so.
maybe
Yeah,
one more.
they've picked it only once before, I think, together with the Treant as well.
Yeah,
they
that
had to
worked really
tinker
well.
that game. As for this matchup, I want to say it's pretty even in the first 2 to 3 levels at least. After that, Phoenix will usually be able to take over because of the constant harassment from Fire Spirits, but Ice, like you said, doing his classic 12 tango 1 salve build.
Is that
it's
a
gonna
classic
take,
thing?
He's done that in multiple games, and he's the only one who does it, I think. But the really powerful thing about it is Universe needs to invest mana into harassing. And that means he can't keep doing it unless if he gets a stick against Ice with the Anchor Smash. And even then, Ice can choose not to use Anchor Smash too much and just prevent Universe from keeping the harassment
That's
up.
the thing I love about Ice. He does not stick to normal convention. He goes for 12 tangos. He gets a terrible hairdo. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Dota or real life. He goes with whatever the hell he wants. Top lane right now is the Troll Warlord,
So true.
along with the Treant Protector, against this tri-lane. So it's going to be the Ember, Rubik, Lesh tri-lane. And let's talk about Lesh for a bit. A hero that's dropped off quite a bit. A lot of changes have been made semi-recently to the hero. Lightning Storm does a slow of, I think it's now 0.5 seconds if I'm not mistaken.
It's 0.75.
Right.
It was buffed, right?
Yeah,
it
that's
used to be
right.
0.5 when it was first introduced. Yep.
Split Earth is super difficult to get off, but with the telekinesis, shouldn't be too difficult overall. What do you think about this hero? I mean, other than the push ability, which I don't even know, do people even go Diabolic Edict anymore in this hero?
Most support players who play it, which are 2, will get Split Earth and Lightning Storm. I think the most common builds are maxing those 2 and maybe getting a point in Pulse Nova, or sometimes you actually do a hybrid build where you also get Diabolic Edict as Fear. It's going to harass a little bit onto Fenrir. Gets the slow off as well. Gets him to half here.
I mean, that's one of the issues with Lesh, is he is super squishy.
But the Split Earth Edict build of old is almost never used anymore, where you don't get Lightning Storm early. Now, I think in this game, Fenrir will absolutely get at least 1 point in Edict, because the main reason Vici Gaming picked this is that they needed a solution for Refraction and Living Armor. And he counters both of them at once with Edict, which is very powerful.
He goes for it
However,
right away, actually.
yeah, he needs it now, because they're aiming to gank mid sometime soon. They have the smoke ready. Unfortunately for them, the timing isn't just right, as Black is currently pushing out the lane, and they don't...
There's the miscommunication. Doesn't know Chinese. I mean,
I'm surprised they didn't block the lane mid. I think they could have actually made the waves clash on Black's cliff. Instead, they're gonna meet in the river, and they're gonna smoke top instead. Maybe it's just a fake play where Evil Geniuses will now think they're trying mid. Look at Sumail's positioning really far back.
yeah.
Whereas Fear, he is totally not ready for this one.
So are they expecting him to go Diabolic Edict just because of the refractions? We're gonna have some action.
Oh, he got him.
Telekinesis onto Fear. They don't bring him back though. Super taking some damage, but Fear's in the middle of a lot of damage. Searing Chains does connect. He's at half HP. He's gonna continue to aggress. They might go for this first blood. Super very low. Obviously doesn't have level 6, so he can't get out of these trees. And this might be first blood for EG. Super, he eats his way out of the trees with the tangos. But it's not going to matter because AUI is there with the last right click. That was really close.
And this is one of the weaknesses of Vici Gaming's lane. When they initiate onto Fear in the middle of a creep wave, Edict is terrible. It's very difficult to land good Searing Chains. And I think the Whirling Axes, I think they removed Flame Guard together with Leech Seed as well. And that's just so much of their damage out the window. They need Super to reach level 5 or level 7 before this play becomes reliable. And losing that first blood to, who did claim it? It was Aoi.
Or Aoi, yeah.
So he's almost level 5 on the Enigma with a good gold boost. Things are looking very good for EG in this early game.
What do you think about their lineup in general? So EG goes for a wombo combo setup. We've seen the Phoenix and the Treant work wonders, but they're adding an Enigma on top of it now. Technically speaking, if they get all 3, that's pretty much a one-team fight. But you don't necessarily need all 3. I think that's the important thing to keep note. I mean, who do they have instead of Enigma? Do you remember in that lineup? Going to the memory banks here?
I can't remember what Aoi played that game.
It might have been like a Chen even. I mean, like almost no team fight.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a Chen in that game. Pretty sure.
So yeah, what do you think about the wombo combo?
Well, it's good if you can land it, right, as usual. I think in this particular game, landing the black hole is going to be difficult, but for EG's lineup, it's not so much about landing the black hole as just Aoi getting in position to set up the fight for them. Because the moment he moves in, they'll need to respect the threat of the black hole and get into a weird position, and then suddenly if PPD is there from Invis and gets an overgrowth off, the entire combo can be pulled off, even without using black hole. But it's still indirectly part of the combo without casting it, if you know what I mean. And then if he can get it off, it's great, but I think in some cases it's actually going to be more risky to cast it than not, because he's playing against a Rubik. So that Rubik needs to be caught in the black hole or in a bad position, since they don't have any lockdowns for Rubik, right? The only lockdown they have is, as a matter of fact, black hole and Malefice, if you will. Or Lucky Bash from Troll, does that even count?
Kind of.
So, FY, I'm expecting him to steal the black hole this game at least once if he gets in position for it, and that could be scary. Oh, Sumail finds Ice on the rune battle. Needs a couple more attacks and we'll let him go.
Well, with the supports missing off the map, don't think he wanted to get too aggressive. But speaking of the supports, FY and Lesh, they haven't really found anything with that combo yet. His top lane now, Super's the one in trouble. Takes a Leech Seed, takes a slow from Whirling Axes. This is going to be enough to get the kill. This might be the second death for Super as PPD with a huge right clicks of that Treant Protector bring him down. And that forces a TP from Ice.
And he was
not
actually
even helping.
He was on the way back to base. He poured it in to try and help with the Ravage, but now he needs to walk all the way to base and walk all the way to lane. This is a very big loss for Vici Gaming. Effectively delaying their Blink Dagger, I would say, by at least a minute, because he has to do all this walking instead of just farming a bit more. He's going to buy a smoke, though, maybe just to...
Wow. AUI. Oh, he gets spotted, though. He has the black hole available, but doesn't look like a gank will be successful in this mid lane. Sumail at the current moment of time has, if you could move your thing, syndereN, thank you. 41 and 12 CS in the mid lane versus... Actually, where is he? Where's the Shadow Fiend? Is he in the jungle right now?
He's in his base. He walked back to regen and will be
everybody
porting out to
walking
lane.
back for Vici.
And I want to point out how big EG's lead is already, because this early game is not working out for Vici. The Lesh Rubik combination is kind of it's a hit or miss combination. Either you get some good ganks off early on, or you have two heroes that are on the recovery and are both very level dependent. So Vici Gaming on the back foot, they're behind by more than 3,000 gold at minute 7, and the same on the XP. Of course, that can be largely attributed to Enigma's almost level 7. And Universe ultimately tied with the Tide in the bottom lane. He's level 7 as well, has a TP scroll available. I think Vici Gaming are going to be desperate. They're trying Sumail.
Telekinesis mid lane gets dropped down into a split earth into Diabolic Edict. Even a Requiem of Souls, a really early one, comes into effect. Sumail looks like he's going to live to see another day in Universe. Forces everybody back. That was like a last resort gank during the nighttime. Now that it's day, they have to have a smoke. But still not successful for Vici Gaming.
Man, Living Armor and level 4 Refraction together are so extremely difficult to cut through. Even the Requiem, I think, he hit it pretty much perfectly. Should have taken off the full Refraction, which it did, but the damage afterwards wasn't enough with the Living Armor. And another failed gank for Vici. They just can't find the openings. And
so just to verify, the way
Requiem
Requiem of Souls works, each soul counts as a separate instance of damage, right? So it takes off Refraction pretty early. Do you know if that works that way?
You get 1 line per 2 souls, right? So Black had level 3 Necromastery, so he has 29 souls, so I'm guessing he gets 14 lines with this. Not 15. I think you need to have 2 full souls. So if they all hit, he can take off Refraction and Living Armor at once, I think. But there's still a big part of the damage that gets negated. When you used to see these extreme blow-up combos, he will only take about half of that.
Yep, Universe getting really aggressive, but Super gonna get out with those Fire Remnants. And speaking of the bottom lane, 2,400 net worth for Universe versus the Ember Spirit. They're pretty much even overall as far as net worth is concerned. Are you a little bit surprised by that? I mean, obviously the rotations from top to bottom, and now that Ice is top, things have switched up a bit.
No, not really. This is kind of
like,
what was to be expected.
Is there any kill potential onto Super? I mean, the Fire Remnants, easy getaway for him. Universe would need at least a +1.
They can't kill him without the Enigma, I think. It's pretty much impossible. That's why the Ember Spirit pick was very powerful this game, because if he gets farm, he can get really scary this game, and also innately a decent hero against TA because of the Flame Guard, but he's not getting there yet. Ember is not good at playing from behind. So they still need to find some sort of opening. Vici Gamer are just not finding anything, and EG getting good farm. Of course, Black, haven't talked too much about him. He's sitting on 80 CS minute 10, so that's about as good as it gets in the mid lane. He will have a mech within the next, let's see, what's that going to be? Probably within the next minute, I would guess, or minute and a half.
So the mech is going to come online first for EG onto AUI, as Ice is taking out a triple stack, it looks like, in the Ancients here. Is this a blink game for Enigma?
No. It's a BKB game, I think.
Radiant's top tower is
So
He
mech
can
into
still-
BKB?
Yeah, it can still get stolen with spell steal, but that's the only counter. So he knows if he gets a black hole off, he gets it off. Then the question is if the counterplay is there for Vici, but they can't stop his black hole with anything else than another black hole. That's not reliable.
How dependent do you think Vici Gaming is on ganks in this early game? Because they haven't found anything. Is that something to really worry them, or they feel comfortable going to the mid game? The way that
I
this is
think they
going?
should be really worried with how low level their supports are. I think they're addressing the situation the right way, though, by giving FY some alone time in the bottom lane to maybe get a... I knew you were going to laugh at that. To maybe get level 6 within a reasonable time frame, and Fenrir is trying to move a bit around and scavenge whatever he can in around the top lane.
Ice gets slowed by the trap.
The counterplay, though.
Here, he's going to get ganked by 2 others. Super and Fenrir are here. Split Earth is going to connect, and down goes Owie. That's the first death coming away. EG's Fear on the run. Searing Chains is going to connect. No, actually, that was the Lightning Storm. Look at that slow. It's so ridiculous. Fear's going to go down the right clicks along with the Flame Guard. Here's the combination we're talking about. Overgrowth into Supernova. Fenrir is getting exploded. Finally, the stun comes out for Universe, and down Fenrir goes. That is 3 dead for Vici Gaming in such a short amount of time. Universe to continue the pressure. FY takes the negative urn charge. Can they catch up? As Icarus dive up? Doesn't look to be, as the Fire Spirits might be enough. In fact, it was the urn. And Black... mid lane.
Yeah. Well, he did the right thing, to be honest. He couldn't have contributed enough in that fight, and instead he takes the tier 1 tower mid and gets some good farm. Overall, that was not too bad for Vici Gaming, and I'm saying that when they lost the fight 2-4, but they need to get something done here. And trading towers in the meantime with how this game is going, I think...
Oh, they're going to lose big stack here.
Yeah,
though.
that's... Okay, then it's not really that much worth it anymore, but until that point, that was pretty okay. And they got some levels on the supports. Rubik's level almost 6, and so is Lesh. That's going to change quite a bit, especially on the Rubik, of course.
Sumail getting really greedy with these Ancients. Of course, Black Hole is still online for AUI,
Radiant's middle tower
so
is
Vici
under
also
attack.
needs to be quite careful. They get pretty much the entire stack. And mid lane, we're going to have a stalemate of sorts at the current moment of time, as it's a 4K gold and experience lead pretty much for EG at the current moment in time. And Fear, just going to push bottom lane all by his lonesome. Of course, Fervor does work on towers. That's what makes him pretty much one of the best pushers in the game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
I would
attack.
still call him an underrated pusher, actually. But maybe not underrated in this tournament anymore, as he's been picked
Yeah, that's
very
true.
often.
He's kind of made a breakthrough in the recent version. And of course, it's a combination of Fervor and Battle Trance, but the Fervor is generally overlooked how important it is. People are always talking about the Battle Trance as a pushing tool, and of course it is the bigger one. It is the ultimate after all and affects the entire team, but if Troll gets to attack the tower on his own for a while, then that Fervor definitely does play a big role. They're going to get Roche for EG.
Dire's top tower
No
is
contesting
under
for
attack.
Vici Gaming, as Super's trying to go on to Owie. He might get Black Hole, though. He will jump out
Fallen to the Dire.
and reset.
And Fear is going to be the one to pick up the Aegis of the Immortal. And actually, what do you think about him picking that up as opposed to TA?
Dire's
I mean,
top tower
I think it's
is
fine
under
either way,
attack.
personally.
I
But
think TA just doesn't die yet,
Dire's structures
so it's kind of a wasted
fortified.
Aegis.
Yeah, I
they
guess
want
that's true.
Fear to go in and soak up damage, as
Speaking of
he's
dying,
doing right
Black
now.
in a lot of trouble. He's going
Oh,
to get
first
bashed
hit
from Fear.
bash.
PPD with the Leech Seed. Nobody's coming to help. Actually, there is the Rubik. Overgrowth is going to ensure the kill. And down goes Black. I believe that's his first death of the game. FY, not going to be there in time.
They
As we
rotated
have
up 4
items,
heroes for
items.
this. They do get the kill and they do get the tier 1 bottom, so another really good move for Evil Geniuses, as Vici Gaming will be getting a Blink Dagger now on the Tide. They are ready to fight, but the openings just seem very difficult to find.
We've seen Midas on... I think it was Ice that picked up the Midas on the Phoenix.
Universe did in his last
Oh, he
Phoenix
did
game
as well?
too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's just going to increase his farm exponentially. For a hero that isn't really item dependent, I would say, or like super item dependent, the fact that you can get luxury items like that is huge.
Dire's middle
I would
tower
love to see an
is under
Aghanim Scepter,
attack.
but it's probably not going to happen.
I think the biggest part of the Midas is getting level 16. It really changes a lot for the Phoenix in terms of, like, the Supernova scaling is really, really good. Level 1 is pretty weak, and after that it starts getting
What is
really
it, like
scary.
5, 7, 10?
It's 5, 8, and 11.
5, 8,
I think
11.
it got buffed at one point. It used to be 5, 7, 10. That's why you remember that. But it's It's been improved. And of course the luxury items do play a role, but one of the crazy things about Phoenix as a hero is, as we mentioned, very item independent. So even if you don't manage to get this Midas, it's definitely not the end of the world compared to a lot of other heroes.
But it feels like he has such a huge impact on the game if he does get a lot of these tankability items. And he can get pretty much decently consistent aggression. Oh, actually, we have a... I think that was a smoke by Vici from the start, wasn't it?
I think so too. They didn't really find anything.
I think that's the second or third smoke they've used to no avail. Universe going to be cleaning up this mid lane creeps. He might be the one that gets ganked. Here comes the Ravage from Ice. He's showing off the Blink Dagger. Remember, Universe does have his ultimate. He's not going to get it off in time. He's going to be the first to die in this engagement. FY and company taking a lot of damage from Fear. First to die for Vici Gaming is the Leshrac. There's the Overgrowth. And into a black hole. That's a double black hole. Black and Ice taking a ton of damage as they attempt to run away. Searing Chains holding PPD in place. Looks like the Aegis of the Immortal will bring back Fear, which means Vici Gaming should probably run, although never mind. Black just deals a lot of damage himself. As 4 survive on pretty low HP for Vici. Sumail on the run. Malefice comes out. And actually it was stolen by FY. Looks like Sumail and AUI will live to see another day. And Black getting more damage out from Sumail. We have a buyback from Phoenix. That's a really late buyback. In fact, here he comes. Looks like the TA did die. Supernova in place. Super, I don't know if he can get out of this. He does have Flame Guard Pop. He's going to get stunned. And down he goes. I don't even know what the trade was. That was a really extended fight. That was... I want to know what time Universe bought back. How much time was left on his death.
Yeah, that was really, really late. I'm pretty surprised that he didn't buy back earlier in that fight. When they got the black hole off, that's when the buyback from Phoenix can really make a big difference. They were lacking on damage. Vici Gaming get the opener. They find Phoenix before the fight breaks out, and even though they use Ravage for it, he is probably the most impactful hero for EG right now. With him out of the picture, and with FY stealing the Fire Spirits at the same time to slow down the Troll and TA's attack speed in that fight, Vici managed to pull off an incredible team fight there. Huge win for them.
How much was the... We didn't get to see the fight recap, I don't
I think it was about 2,500.
Okay.
All in all.
Not too shabby then. FY in the mid lane. I don't pay attention to what you do, Epis. I'm sorry. I love you, though. But that's a really early Blink Dagger for FY. That is huge. I mean, that's going to be... As long as he's not in a black hole, that's almost a guaranteed black hole pretty much every time. And that's what AUI has to be super careful about in this game.
It's also another initiation tool for them. They have... Last time they Blink Ravaged. Maybe this time they can just Blink Lift, save the Ravage, and get more than one hero in it, as the build-up for Refresher now begins for Ice with the Ring of Health.
Oh, PPD
quite
gets
far.
caught under a
Wow.
Sentry Ward. Telekinesis, Split Earth, Diabolic Edict. Pretty much everything. He gets a Leech Seed off and then just drops dead.
And Super does get in on that assist. He's had a really hard game on his Ember Spirit so far, but is making progress. Sitting with a drum and 700 gold. I wonder what he goes for, if he still thinks Battle Fury is the build, or if he wants to go for something that gives a little more defensive capability. I'm thinking something like... Well, if he gets a Linken's, what can he block with that? He can block Leech Seed or he can block Malefice, and that's it. So, reliable counter to Malefice, which is nice, but I don't know if he considers that worth it. I believe they are pretty much targeting him with the Malefice, though, when they can.
Yeah, I think so, too. Well, it's 7-10 right now. Getting close to the 20-minute mark. And how many towers are down? There's only a Tier 1 mid down for EG and a Tier 1 bot for Vici. What level is Leshrac's Diabolic Edict? I mean, do they have any opportunities to actually push with this? So he went for a 4-2-2 build.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the ultimate will be picked up at 10-11. Question is, does he go for Lightning Storm 3 the next level?
I think so. The 2 points in Edict should be enough to burn through the TA and the Living Armor. As the only thing that scales is the damage. It doesn't scale in terms of duration or the speed of the explosions, so... If you're using it as a removal tool anyway, you might as well keep it on level 2.
It's a good way to force out the fortification as well. That's something of old, as we haven't really mentioned that too much. Is they're going to continue to push this. Fire Spirit's coming out. Black with that haste rune. should be good to go. Has the regen bottle as well. Of course, we talked about his mech. Looks like he's going for a Scotty, unless that's going to be a Manta, which typically you would not see the ultimate orb first, so I highly doubt that. Ice. The slow progression towards... I say slow, actually it's not that slow. Towards a refresher orb. This could be scary for EG.
This fight is
Depending on this
super
fight goes.
important.
Under attack.
EG needs to get the right opener. They have to get their combo off. And they need to make space for Sumail to start fighting. It's still a difficult team for him to fight into. Even with the BKB, they're just
Look at
kiting
how
him really
aggressive
well.
Super is being. My goodness, he takes a Leech Seed. Universe is there with the Fire Spirit. It's not going to connect Sumail. Takes a Split Earth. And doesn't look like Vici wants to fight, at least not yet.
Might wait for the next Flame Guard, as that will go on cooldown now.
Oh,
Force out. Oh, very
There's the
close.
initiation onto Sumail. Takes the Ravage as well. He's going to be the first to drop. It's a 5v4 just like that. Does EG want to defend now? They might just give this up. Probably the wise move. 50 seconds on the deck for Sumail.
This is where EG can pull a fake. They make Vici think Sumail doesn't have buyback since they give the tier 1 for free, and then they can make the play on the tier 2 with a buyback, but Sumail has cooldown on Town Portal, so they actually can't even make that play.
Yeah.
They might lose 2 towers as a result. I think Vici Gaming just gonna continue here mid. Meanwhile, or bottom lane, sorry, as mid lane, FY and Ice will catch
Searing
up.
Chains. Even the lift is used. Fear at half HP. AUI is here. Has the black hole available. He's going to use it, but Fear can't really do a whole lot. He turns into range 1 and Super taking a beating. He might get the kill on Fear. Nope. Not going to happen. Fear barely gets out with his life, and the initiation continues. Universe jumps in. Not going to find anybody at this point. So it ends up being overall a 1-for-1 with a tier 1 killed at bottom.
And FY is going to blink to the high ground.
Oh, boy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Sunray finds him. Universe is like, hello. How are you doing? He's going to steal it! He's going to attempt to run away, but FY. Style points, but dies in the
Oh,
end.
it looks so good when Rubik uses Sunray. He's like surfing. So good. But yeah, that's a
Actually,
2-for-1.
how does that interact with Rubik? I know that Rubik has a lot, like, the cast points are pretty much non-existent, but for that, your movement is limited, right? And that stays the same with Rubik.
Yeah, whenever you enter Sunray, you get a change in how you can turn and how you can move your hero, and the same is the case for Rubik. You saw it there.
Yeah.
He started moving forward, but he loses move speed and, well, regardless was not going to get out of that. Still looked funny. Well, EG get a 2-for-1 in that and lose their tier 1 as you mentioned. And Super was really close to getting the kill on the Enigma, but ultimately, or on the Troll rather, ultimately gets Black Holed. That, of course, means Black Hole's on cooldown for another 2 minutes, which Vici Gaming could take advantage of, as Roshan is spawning in 1.
Yeah. Who has the better Roche lineup for holding it?
Vici Gaming when Black Hole's on cooldown.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Sunray. Don't forget about Sunray.
Sunray's good.
So good.
If you stand in the oven, you're gonna get burnt,
Good one.
but you can choose not to.
Okay. We'll just go along with that. As the tier 1 tower is going to be defended here by Sumail, who's been playing, I feel like, a lot more cautious this game. Is that more to do with the supports being off the map constantly, or maybe some jitters from the grand final? I mean, again, this will be his...
I feel like he has already proven that he seems to have no jitters at all.
You were very impressed with his interview.
Yeah, I liked his interview a lot. And we also, I mean, his play speaks for itself. He doesn't really need to say anything.
Yeah.
He has done more than enough. Even if his grand final performance isn't up to par with how he's played in all the other games, they've still been so good that... I mean, you wouldn't really call it forgivable if he plays a bad grand finals as such, but he has played so exceptionally well that if he still plays really solid, he's had an amazing tournament.
Agreed.
No matter what.
Ice. I cannot believe how much farm this guy's getting. So BKB now in AUI, but Ice. All he needs is a recipe for that refresher orb. He's going to have it at like 28 minutes, I want to say. Maybe 29. As there is a smoke for EG. They're going to go straight into the Roche pit. Universe showing himself mid to perhaps give Vici a little peace of mind.
Oh my god, this Roche is dead.
Yep.
Roshan has fallen.
So
Pretty good
Mail
Roche lineup,
gets
man.
the Aegis this time.
All right.
So I think EG's reason for giving it to him this time is that, as we talked about for previous fights, he's not going to die, which he did twice. But so that was a good prediction. But I think the point was, Sumail doesn't feel like he can commit enough into the fight without Aegis. And Now that Troll has BKB as well, they might just try to take a different approach to the fight, where Fear stands back a little bit more, gets off a good battle trance timing, and then they let Sumail lead the charge, because he's the harder one to initiate on when he has Refraction up.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower
And then they
is
can
under
snowball off of that.
Well, in that one fight where Fear had the Aegis, he came back, and I thought he was going to turn it around, but then we looked at his inventory. He had a Mithril Hammer and an Ogre Club, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was like very underwhelming as far as damage is concerned. So that's going to be a little bit changed now that he has a little bit more farm. But for Sumail himself, looks like he's going for a Desolator as well, and that is going to deal a ton of damage.
Oh,
They can take
Super has
Roshan
the
so
Spirit
fast.
down. He's going to need to jump.
Super takes the Black Hole. It's a solo one. Do they have enough damage to take him out easily?
Man, that's confidence from Aoi going for that Black Hole there. If Super's really quick mid-cast animation, he can jump out. But sometimes those plays just work. They're the ones where when you're on the receiving end, you're like, why would you even try that? That's so extremely risky, and it's almost like you believe I'm a worse player than you. And that's the mentality you need to play with, right?
Is it going to put him
Aoi
on
just
tilt?
outskills him there. Goes for the big play and gets away with it.
Would you go on tilt if something like that happened to you, syndereN?
I'm on permanent tilt, dude.
I actually can't picture you being on tilt, to be perfectly honest. It's Fear, and Universe going to find Fenrir. He gets nice split earth off on Fear himself. Universe taking a ton of damage. He's going to get blown. No, he gets a supernova off, but they might kill him anyways. The Ravage is going to ensure that. In fact, it hits 4 heroes. BKB popped galore, but remember, AUI already uses Black Hole. Ice on the run. Looks like he's going to be the next tonight. It's a 1-for-1 at the current point. There's a nice overgrowth. It was stolen by Rubik. Can they have it? Do they have any damage to follow this up with Black? Dealing some right clicks to Sumail, who's trying to finish off Fenrir. It's not going to be enough. PPD with the invis just pops him in the face. Super Black versus Sumail. Who's going to come out on top here? Okay, actually Sumail is literally surrounded. He gets the Aegis is used. AUI trying to hang around, but remember, again, no Black Hole. Midnight Pulse mightn't be online though. Malefice, Sumail gets some living armor, trying to get a consolation kill. Pops his Refraction at the last second, attempting to run away with the Searing Chains, ensures his death.
Vici
AUI
Gaming
will
are
TP
playing
out.
this fight so insanely well. If you take that, just look at how much work FY is getting done during that fight with the Rubik, zoning out heroes, putting pressure. The 4-man Ravage from the Fog by Ice to secure the kill on the Supernova. And just the kiting overall from Vici Gaming. They're making Sumail's life extremely hard by just having these mobile heroes in the Ghost Scepter and the Leshrac. And he never really seems to get onto a target. They needed the Black Hole there, and Vici Gaming take full advantage of it being out of EG's arsenal for that fight.
I like that Ghost Scepter pickup. I guess the only, other than magical, Psyblades would go through it, right? But that's pure damage, so it doesn't get amplified by the Ghost Scepter itself. As Troll Warlord now has a Chrysalis into a Daedalus soon enough. Black, haven't talked about his item progression in a while. He has 5,300 gold on top of his Manta style.
I like
Which it was a Manta style, it wasn't a Scotty.
Yeah, he did choose to go back for the Manta, or maybe that was the plan all along. I think it's really good when you're playing against Overgrowth. It's kind of the one thing he really wants to break out of, so he doesn't get, first of all, he doesn't really get tempted to break anything else, and it's just a very obvious item counter that benefits him well with his stats. And he's not getting BKB, because then he would have bought it by now. And I like that choice a lot as well, as Ice. He is invis. They have Nature's Guise on FY. Refresher is up on Ice. Oh boy, he blinks mid-Leech Seed animation from PPD. PPD with a gem. Thought he had the opener there. Looked like EG were faking that they couldn't see him.
Did he pick up the Refresher on his hero? So they saw it then, I'm guessing.
They might have seen that. I'm not sure.
Been a close call. So perhaps no surprise factor for Ice, but either way, just having that is enormous.
This is really big. And Black is going to get a full butterfly. If he wants to buy it now, he could do it. Currently 2 components on the courier. And he is saving for buyback.
Now that Black Hole is online, all their ultimates are online.
Never mind, he bought it. A little bit of miscommunication sending out the courier without the components. He's going to have to wait his turn.
He's going to walk. There's been a lot of walking
swagger back to
base.
Yeah,
well,
maybe so. Not. Maybe yes. Maybe. Okay, he's not really making up his mind.
The smoke. I think it's still up. No, actually, a completely wasted smoke in the end. It looks like Super's won that.
30-minute Battle Fury. He has really had a hard game, but he's on the comeback trail.
Well, he is a comeback hero of sorts. Pretty decent turtler once he gets some DPS.
Yes. So Ember is a little bit special when it comes to that, because he's bad at playing from behind, but if you get one good fight, he's one of the best heroes at recovering. So it's exactly what needs to happen for Super to be a hero in this game is what they just managed to accomplish in the last 10 minutes with their 2 team fights. Looks like EG want to pressure bottom. There's nothing more important in the next team fight than EG popping their BKBs with the right timing. They have 3 of them. 1 on Troll, 1 on Enigma, and 1 on TA. If they mistime them, they're going to get 5-0'd. Like, these double Ravages, they cannot deal with in any possible way if they get off. And want to say I really like Black's item build in this game. I think it's the ideal build. BKB would have been underwhelming, can only really remove the Malefice here, as well as, well, you could pop it after Overgrowth, but he has Manta for that. Arguably also good against Troll's Blind, but can also Manta dodge that. Maybe if he gets both at once, that would be a really big play for him if he removes them. And then the evasion and the hard hitting, because these fights are extended, and Black gets to attack a hell of a lot during them. So, seems to be the right direction for him this game is going in. And what are we looking at for the supports? FY with 1,000 gold, has the Blink still as his only real item, but it's been the only thing he's needed, to be honest.
That is all he needs.
And what do we have for EG? PPD, really not much progression on him. Arcane Boots and Urn. The TA with the Deso and 3k, so looking at something somewhere down the line there. Maybe a Butterfly for her as well.
Top lane, Super. Trying to bait this out. Has a couple remnants up. Going to force EG to play a little footsie, and away he goes.
Yep.
What do you think about FY going for Ags this game? So, obviously the 2-second cooldown is the biggest deal of all. It would be hilarious to see him steal Egg, although that's extremely difficult to do. But more importantly, a Black Hole with Midnight Pulse, and even Overgrowth with the extra ability. What is it? Eyes in the Forest or whatever?
Yeah, does that work? Because there's a couple of Axe upgrades that don't work entirely on
That's
Rubik.
actually true. Since it's a separate ability, I guess it wouldn't work.
I'm not sure. I can't remember seeing it, so I would assume it doesn't work.
Yeah, actually, now that
be.
I think about it, I think you're right. I think you're right.
That would have been really nice, though. Axe Supernova, like you said, is pretty cool. Very situational, though, and, well, I don't know. I think FY, the way he's playing these fights, is actually... It's not about getting the big ults, it's about getting as many spells as possible. So for me, the Axe upgrade, the most important thing for him is not getting the Axe version, but having the 5-second cooldown. Because half the fight
is it 5 seconds?
Yeah.
What am I thinking? Oh, it's Invokers too, right?
Oh, was it? No, it was reduced to 2. That's right, it was patched.
Okay.
Down to 2-second cooldown with the new spell steal. So FY will be juggling spells in the fights, constantly finding something to steal. He's managed to stay alive very long in all of the previous engagements, so if he can keep doing that, it can have a huge impact. Okay,
Well,
so
Fear has 3,800. He buys the Demon
Yeah.
right now. So going
that's the Daedalus.
finish that Daedalus here. And at what point does EG feel like they can fight? I mean, against double Ravage, Requiem of Souls. I mean, a lot of teamfight potential for Vici Gaming. Of course, Rubik just being really annoying. Essentially, he's the one preventing AUI from getting any kind of good black hole off, as long as he's not inside it. And we're going to have a smoke now by Vici. So far, their smokes have not worked. But that was when they were kind of behind, although a lot of it was at the beginning of the game.
Well, to answer your question about the timing for EG, I think it's only going to get harder, actually. Phoenix falls off late game. There is the Indita, a Daedalus, and the Troll Aura. Thank you very much, Asus TT NVIDIA. Ultra sellout. But the thing is, on paper, having 2 black holes late game is of course extreme, but Vici's lineup just deals with it very well. And I want to say the Ember is going to be a big problem if he gets to keep scaling. And EG already with their draft struggles to catch him off guard, although this smoke gank, if this works, Ice is in such a good position though. And they have the high ground ward.
Vici Gaming has a gem, so these Nature's Guises will not really be too effective. PPD is going to be the first one to be spotted. A blink out by FY. He's taking a lot of damage. Ice gets a double Ravage on 3. Can AUI get his ult off? He's popped his BKB. He's trying to go for the black hole. It's only going to be on 1 hero. It's Super, though. If they can get this, it will be pretty big. A 3-for-1. Even the Supernova coming to fruition. Super attempting to run away. This might be the 4th kill for EG as there's a buyback. And this might be a dieback, and it is. The last remaining member of Vici Gaming just went down. That was Black. A team wipe for EG. That was actually 6 kills.
That fight went so well for them. I cannot believe they managed to pull that off. So the way the fight begins, FY blinks in aggressively, so he's not a part of the fight. They immediately go to 4-on-5, but they get 2 Ravages consecutively onto 3 heroes, but the follow-up damage isn't there. They also somewhat overlapped the split earth with the second Ravage, so they missed the stun duration. And then the BKBs and the mech are popped, and EG easily turn it around, get the Overgrowth Supernova, and when the 2 Ravages don't yield kills, the fight is just lost. Like, that's where, ideally, when the first Ravage hits, Black gets in, either gets to attack heroes or he gets the Requiem off, but he was kept out of the fight there. Never really got to assist his team, and big fight for EG.
And they're about 12k up in, I think that was experience. And what, can we look at the gold graph again, Wepis? Yeah, okay, about 10k up in gold. And Roche will be the next target for EG.
God, this Roshan.
They don't even need to try to kill this guy. Sumail has the MKB now to go through right through the butterfly of Black. And even a Shiva's Guard on Universe. We're talking about the hero that, if you get luxury items on him, it's pretty disgusting, and we're starting to see it now. He has the Blink Dagger as well. I don't think we mentioned that. Along with Fear. So they're just picking up items left and right as they win that fight in spades.
And so the reason Shiva's Guard is generally the preferred choice on Phoenix is, there's 2 reasons. The first one, or actually there's kind of only one reason. So when you move with your hero with Shiva's Guard in Dota 2, it follows you around. So when you cast it together with Icarus Dive, the area you manage to cover with the ice is extremely big. It also, of course, has armor, which is very nice, the tankability. You see it in use here, the Shivas.
Oh, Black and FY in a lot of trouble. He gets the dive off, but he gets Overgrowth somehow. Black's going to be the first to die with barely any souls to speak of. Fenrir on the run. He gets slowed by the trap. EG is going to continue the pressure as Fear just right-clicks to victory. That's 2 dead. FY does live in the end. This push will continue. Shiva's also lowers attack speed. Does that go through the egg?
Yes, I think so.
That's pretty awesome. That is really good synergy. Ice trying to get something out of this in the form of a tier 2 tower, but here comes AUI with the Malefice into the Midnight Pulse. Universe is here as well with the Shiva's Guard. Ice trying to TP out. He is going to get out, actually. No stuns to speak of. Malefice was already used.
And as a result, EG don't get racks. I think that's actually a mistake that they didn't go for the collateral there, but they might think Black has buyback, so they don't commit. But ultimately, they defended a tier 2 instead of trading it for racks right there. They had Battle Trance, they were in a good position to siege there, but playing it safe. Now they might be looking for Super. Fear comes in. Never mind, it's FY. Oh my god, almost gets one shot.
He still has Icarus Dive, and he takes the 1 shot. Gets away. Ice might go down before the Ravage pops. Doesn't want to waste it. The BKB on Sumail. And EG continuing to snowball. And we were looking at the net worth. Black had a sizable lead. Like, I feel like it was 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And now 2 heroes have overtaken them for EG.
EG are getting really rich on all their heroes, and they probably know that Tidehunter doesn't have buyback. Sitting on a plate mail. I think a Ghost Scepter for Ice would have been a better choice. I understand he wants to build up for the Shivas, but these physical attacks from EG are so extremely hard that even with armor, he's still just going to get burst down. And Sumail, oh my gosh, Super can't even go in.
Black.
Gonna try from a distance. Pretty good damage, actually.
All right, well,
they get him.
Dies in the end, and he's going to force EG back completely.
He didn't use his cheese. Oh, that's a costly mistake. That was ultimately another shot at barracks for EG. And we're saying a costly mistake. They're 20k ahead. Maybe they can manage.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, he had the cheese. He wasn't stun locked. Perhaps just wanted to wait for a better time.
Perhaps he thought he had the Aegis and Fear had the cheese. Maybe he forgot.
Okay.
That's kind of a long shot, though.
Yeah, that's a little bit of...
Well, he had the Aegis in the last fight. Oh, wait, I don't have Aegis this time.
Well, the problem is he comes up in 56 seconds, which means there'll be 1 minute left on the Aegis, which is a pretty small window to work with. I mean, you don't want to pull an RTZ, right? Where you just die literally a millisecond. Although, oh boy, Fear, or FY.
Oh my god.
Well, as long as Fear can get
Super
2
got
shots
bashed.
off. Wow, look at the burst damage from Fear.
Oh,
The Blink Dagger has been huge for him.
That looks like another possibility here to maybe siege.
3 times the
PPD
charm.
leading.
Overgrowth on 2. Ice is going to have to use his Ravage. Connects on 2 heroes, but AUI is there with the BKB. As the Sunray being used. Really to not very much effect, but here comes the Malefice on Black. He has 36 souls. He's going to take a solo Black Hole, and it looks like another death for Black, although the nice split Earth from the Leshrac ends up not saving it, but a beautiful Ravage from Ice. Don't think they have enough damage to follow this up with, though. That is the second Ravage, and I don't think they can defend now without that second Ravage. Ice going down to the Sunray. Universe with a double kill, playing an amazing Phoenix game. And Sumail, well, he's back in mid. He has the cheese. He's like, all right, guys, I I have the bind. It was in the wrong slot. We're good to go.
Nice work, everybody. I'm here to siege with you. Good 4 and 5. Didn't need me.
This is going to be at least 1 Rax, but
They
without
can
the tide.
probably end the game here if they feel confident. They could go for the tier 4s.
They could. They're going to get the full
50
Rax
seconds.
mid. They're going
They'll
towards
take
bottom.
2
They're going for
lanes.
Mega Creeps. Fear. Battle Trance just with the ridiculous low cooldown. FY takes the Shiva's Guards, gets a nice telekinesis, but it's not going to matter. Fenrir pops the Ghost Scepter. And Black, unfortunately, just a hero that is not very good after coming back from dead. Only half the souls to speak of. Blink Dagger on treeant now. This is going to be disgusting to watch. Here comes a Supernova. Black taking a lot of damage over time. And the Malefice into Overgrowth, and the stun will follow. GG's as EG, despite being the underdog in this tournament, in this Grand Finals, take game 1. And I have to say, pretty damn convincingly.
Yeah, that was a really well-executed strategy from them. It looked a little bit shaky when they lost the fight at the bottom tier 1, and Vici Gaming got a really good trade. But all in all, I think the biggest part in this victory is how they managed to force VG toward the later portion of the game to use abilities they didn't want to. They forced out Ravages that ideally Vici Gaming get a better fight off with, and especially that bottom fight at the tier 2, right? They go for the wraparound smoke, they get the right initiation, they immediately make quick work of Rubik, and the Tidehunter Ravages just don't do enough. They get a 6 for 1, I think that was, and that's basically that fight meant more than anything else in that game. And with the 20k lead, it's pretty hard for it to go wrong with that kind of lineup.
Well, it was going in Vici's favor for a little bit there. They were starting to come back, but in the end, the Wombo combo from EG was too much. I have to say, AUI's Enigma was excellent. Didn't really see that many black holes, but when he used them, they worked very effectively. FY tried his best to bring back Vici, and he played absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's arguably his best hero anyway, so I guess it shouldn't be too big of a surprise, but it wasn't enough in game 1. This, of course, is a best-of-5 series for the Grand Finals of the Dota 2 Asia Championships. Let's see what the panel thinks. Guys, back to you.
And thus game 1 of the finals is in the history books. And it says EG took it very, very, very convincingly. What happened here?
Well, I mean, starting with the laning stage, the Rubik Lesh didn't really find many ganks. Something that Winter brought up during the game was maybe they could have put the Ember Spirit mid, easier hero to gank for, can actually initiate for the ganks.
Didn't expect the lanes that they did, but I understand they wanted to pressure the Enigma, but they had to give away stuff in exchange for that to happen.
I think going back to the first smoke gank where they go top, I believe they got dewarded. They did not have a ward, so they had no idea where the Enigma was. And I don't know if EG were expecting a smoke gank there, but they were keeping the Enigma very close to the lane. Like, he was farming the big camp right next to it. So perhaps EG expected that rotation and were just completely prepared. They just seemed like they had Vici Gaming's number with this dual roaming early on.
The Rubik Lesh is like one of those very hit or miss duos. I feel like it worked going back to TI4. It worked that one game against EG, and then they pulled out again against Newbie in the finals, and it completely crashed and burned. If you don't find your early ganks, if you don't get something out of the Rubik Lesh, suddenly the game gets very difficult to win. They just lost so many of the lanes as a result of the supports having no impact.
They still had like ways to come back into the game. During the first few clashes, they had a few good fights, but the combo from Phoenix and Treant Protector.
You look at that one climax. So, I mean, fast forwarding after that, FY has like a billion amazing spell steals. Steals the Fire Spirits, he's stealing Meld and getting kills with it. Every big spell, it felt like that game. And that was without really having like a gigantic black hole that turned the fights. He still was doing a lot of work. At one point, steals Sunray and tries to run off the cliff and
That was
survive.
a very good one.
That was like his FY ascending to like God mode in this game, but it's hard to keep on doing that every single fight, right? At some point, EG they decide we have to kill this guy first. That big smoke gank bottom.
Yeah.
FY dies right away. Black, I'm not really sure what was happening.
It was
with
also
him.
because Black was away from his team.
Yeah.
They had a 3-man Ravage. If the Shadow Fiend was there, the fight was over.
He was very far to the
fight
north during that fight.
The fight was definitely over if the Shadow Fiend was near there. There was no way
And at
they
the
would
same
have
time, it
won.
was EG on the dire side, like flanking from behind. It's an unexpected angle for EG to come
Do you
from.
guys think
Yeah.
this is a communication issue? Like Vici Gaming
well,
talks?
I don't know if Vici expected that exact gank.
I've seen
because
seen
FY
it,
got caught.
but like you were mentioned about communication, I've seen similar situations happen a lot of times where Black is always late or slow because it takes time for him to digest what they are saying. Maybe he didn't understand that. Maybe someone was ready. You could tell ISS was ready. He was going towards the back, but Black didn't start moving at the same time. He moved late and he couldn't be there on time.
You know, like a good example would be they smoked back near their own tier 2, and it didn't actually hurt them at all. But Black immediately starts running towards mid, and the other 3 players go straight towards the bottom lane. And then he's like, oh crap, turns around, starts following to catch up with them. It didn't actually hurt them in that case, but I mean, it does speak to what you're saying, Winter, that he's just one step behind in terms of the communication.
Yeah.
One more thing about that. Black was ahead in net worth for most of the game. And while he was actually doing that, there was nothing that Vici Gaming could do to take advantage.
You said he's ahead of items, but I think he was missing one key item in his Shadow Fiend.
What
He was
item?
missing the blink because the combination of heroes they had the tight blink.
Mhm.
So usually when you have a hero like this as a Shadow Fiend player, it's nice to have the blink so that you can follow the tide wherever he goes. You won't have the problem where you're lagging behind or you need to move as soon as the tide tells you something. But if you don't have the blink, I mean, if you have the blink, it gives you the liberty to be slower to come over because you can always catch up anyway.
Well, actually, when we were at the couch, Gods said, and this is might be somewhat related to what you're saying, said Shadowfiend is not a black hero. Now, to that I say you're colorblind, but you might be right in the sense that...
it took me a while to get that.
Good. But it might be true in the sense that he's not used to catch up with the builds and just adapt. You just go to, when you're not too comfortable with the hero, you have a cookie cutter kind of build, and you stick to that.
Yeah, the issue with Shadowfiend is Shadowfiend is a core that needs to work with the team. That's why you usually see VG, they put black on something like a slug or anti-mage or you morphling. You basically do your own stuff. It doesn't really show so much that you have the teamwork issue or communication issue with your team. But with Shadowfiend, it was actually quite clear in that game that he was always
We're
lagging.
focusing a lot on Black. I just want to say, though, I don't think he played the best game. I don't think he finished right well.
Ember.
The problem therein was Ember, and even, like, FY, he played amazing in team fights, but end of the day, the supports, their first 2 minutes of the game was why Vici Gaming were playing from behind.
Yeah.
So you can say FY, you can call him FY God all you want during that game, but he and Fenrir were the reason they were behind for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, we opened the panel talking about the early rotations failing, and I still feel that is the number one thing about this
But
game.
to me, it's like it's another issue because of their laning phase. The way they lane as well. Like if you have the Ember, like I was suggesting mid, maybe they will be more encouraged to gank mid because it's Shadowfiend mid, and you're like, okay, Shadowfiend TA, and we are both missing away from the map.
Well, FY is the reason they did the lanes that way. So
Okay.
You can't blame Black for that.
But you wouldn't know if
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I want the lanes like this. Maybe someone was like, okay, maybe we should do this. And
yeah, that's
you know,
we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
In any case, we're going into game 2 right now in a bit. And Vici Gaming was yesterday very dominating against EG. EG, I can say they were extremely dominating this game 1 as well. There was no single team fight that Vici Gaming showed that they were in control at all. Do you think this is going to be a quick 3-0 for EG? Are we turning our bets around?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think
don't
you look
so.
at this game, a game that could have gone either way. Came down a lot. Even after the bad start, VG Gaming still could have won. FY also getting caught out in that wraparound gank off the bat really hurt them. If he doesn't get caught, if he manages to steal a big spell, I think that fight goes very differently. And even after that, there were a lot of times where EG were just more in position, got the pickoffs to start the fights. It could have gone either way. And I think moving forward, Vici Gaming will just look at this and say, EG outplayed us, but that doesn't mean that we can't beat them if we play more polished in games 2 and onward.
Yeah.
Fair enough. With that said, we're going to go into a break. When we come back, we will have game 2 of the Dota 2 Asia Championship Finals. It's EG versus Vici Gaming. EG is 1-0. Be right back.